everyone, it's Stephanie and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to do the Reading Habits book tag, and I was tagged by Angela at Literature Science Alliance. I will link her channel down below. You should definitely go check her out, especially if you love fantasy and sci-fi. She's amazing, and she also does this series called The Science Behind the Magic, which is super cool. Lucy! So the first prompt is, do you have a certain place at home for reading? I really don't. I have an office, but it's really more for my desk and my bookshelves. So if I read, it's usually on the couch or in bed. And that really just varies on the time of day and my mood. Bookmark or random piece of paper? Preferably a bookmark, but I'm okay with using a random piece of paper. I hate dog-earing my pages. I've done it before when I've had nothing else to mark my spot, but that's an absolute last resort. What? You want to say hi to your fans? Yeah? She has paid me hardly any attention today. It's 4:30 in the afternoon, and literally as soon as I sit down to start filming, she starts whining and wanting to be all up in my business. So the Kraken is back. Number 3 is, can you just stop reading, or do you have to stop after a chapter or a certain number of pages? If I had a choice, I would stop at the end of a chapter, but sometimes it's unavoidable, like if you get interrupted or you're commuting and you have to go into work, like if I'm listening to an audiobook. So it really just depends on the situation, but ideally I prefer to stop at the end of a chapter. Number 4, do you eat or drink while reading? I drink all the time while I'm reading. If I'm eating while I'm reading, usually I'm reading on my Kindle because I don't have to hold it, and so there's less chance of getting food on my book. Number 5, multitasking, music or TV in the background while reading. No. I'm horrible at that. Sometimes I can do like the ASMR videos, but it can't be one that has a ton of distracting noises. It has to be one like the, Harry Potter, Care of Magical Creatures, like in Forensi's classroom. It's really peaceful and it's really nature-based, so it just has like fire crackling and maybe a few bird sounds. That one I find really relaxing, but I can't do music. I definitely can't do movies or TV. Even the Golden Girls, which I can probably quote every single episode, I could not leave that on the background while I'm reading. Number 6, one book at a time or several at once? Several at once. There is a scene in the Gilmore Girls where Rory is trying to pack her backpack and Lorelai is making fun of her for how many books she has, but it's very me. Like, if I'm not in the mood for this, then I want to have this book on hand. And if I'm not in the mood for that, then I want to have this book on hand. And that's me. I think right now I'm reading like 6 books. So, no judgment. Number 7, read at home or everywhere? Everywhere. I've been known to read in bars. I read on my phone if I'm waiting in line. I listen to audiobooks all the time at work. If I'm able to do something that doesn't require a ton of concentration. I listen to audiobooks in the car. If I'm at a family gathering and I'm not really in the conversation, I'll read on my phone. I always have something to read with me. 8, reading out loud or silently in your head? Silently in my head 99% of the time. Sometimes if I'm finding myself maybe a little bored or getting myself pulled out of the story, I'll read out loud. Or a really good tip for classics or books that have older language like Tolkien or Old English, like maybe the Canterbury Tales, it's really helpful to read it out loud because I think the combination of reading it and hearing it makes it easier to understand. So I'll do that sometimes if I'm having trouble with the language of a book or staying focused, but honestly, I prefer to read silently in my head. Number 9, do you read ahead or skip pages? Most of the time, no. If it's my first time reading a book, I don't. I recently talked about The Fellowship of the Ring and how there were a lot of song breaks, and I'd already read that book a couple times before, so I skipped the song breaks. But other than that, I read the book. But most of the time, I don't read ahead or skip pages. Number 10, breaking the spine or keeping it like new. Preferably, I'd like to keep it like new. It really just depends on the book. So for example, this is the mass market of The Lies of Locke Lamora, and this is a pretty chunky book, and I just ended up breaking the spine because it was just a lot easier to read, and it's a paperback. It's okay. I'm gonna reread it, and it was really tight when I was reading it, so it was helpful to spread out the pages so I could see everything. But then I have a ton of cozy mysteries and mass market paperbacks, and these are only like 250, 300 pages, and it's really easy to read them. So these almost always look like new, and they're so fast, I really don't have time to just get to the point where I feel like I need to crack the spine, if that makes sense. So these almost always look like new. Finally, do you write in your books? Depends on the book. For example, I have The Dragon Reborn by Robert Jordan. I started off annotating this series. It's paperback. It's not a super nice copy. It's just a trade floppy paperback. But I do have a system where I write. And then if I do write, it's just in the margins or I'll underline. But if it's a really nice book or a book that I want to keep really nice, I will not write in it. I may stick Post-its in there if I want to make notes, but I won't actually write in the book. So I'm really not a big annotator anyway. I did it a lot in college, but I was an English major, and that just helped me with papers and presentations, things like that. But I just find myself getting frustrated because it makes me slow down, and if it's a really good book, I want to find out what happens next. So usually when I annotate, it's a reread because I already know what happened. And as you can see with this one, I quit annotating like maybe 200 pages in because it was just taking forever, and I wanted to find out what happened, so I just abandoned trying to annotate it. Those are all the questions. I don't know who all has done this video, so I don't want to tag people twice. And Angela and I follow a lot of the same people, so I feel like if she did it and I've done it, then most likely the people who I would tag have done it too. So if you're watching this, consider yourself tagged. And if you do this video, let me know. I want to watch it and see what your reading habits are. So as always, if you like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and click the subscribe button down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time.